Animals with the most depressing lives. Now look, you might be thinking you have it pretty bad, and you might even be watching this video to try to make yourself feel better. And if that's the case, then just remember, if you're alive, you have an internet connection, and you have a device to watch this video on, you have something to be grateful for. But also, if you're not one of these animals on this list, then you definitely have something to be grateful for. Because in my opinion, the animals on this list have some of the most depressing existences of all time. Oh yeah, and like always, this list gets more and more depressing as the video goes on. Starting off, we have hamsters. And I know this might sound strange, but hear me out. First and foremost, most people see hamsters as a toy instead of a pet, and that for an animal is a horrible existence. Imagine you're just a cute fuzzball, and then you have like some 6-year-old kid who always throws you in a ball and throws you down the stairs. A lot of people see hamsters as a low-maintenance pet, which is ideal for a great first pet for a child. But the problem is a lot of these children can't even use a spoon properly, and we expect them to take care of a living creature? That's ridiculous. Besides the fact that in a best-case scenario, these animals are kept in a small cage their entire life, and some of the most exposure they have to the outside world is in a ball that typically gets kicked down the stairs or worse. That alone isn't ideal, but for me, that's the beginning of it, not the end of it. I don't know about for you guys, but for me, I feel like everybody I knew growing up had a crazy hamster story that all involved their pet hamster dying in some sort of tragic way. Let me tell you mine. I remember being, I don't know, maybe grade 7 when I remember talking to one of my friends. She was talking about her pet hamster. It's funny because I never saw her with a pet hamster, so I asked her what happened to it, and she told me this story. Supposedly, she was hanging out in the backyard with her family at a small family event when her uncle was building a house out of bricks for the hamster that she was playing with in the backyard. She put the hamster in the house of bricks and it collapsed and squished her hamster. And that was just her story. And I feel like that is not a rare instance. Everyone gets hamsters for literally 20 bucks at PetSmart, and they think they have a living bouncy ball or something. It's ridiculous. But even if a hamster has the perfect owners and it has a great enclosure and everything is great, their existence is still quite rough. Specifically the fact that they eat their own babies relatively often. If you happen to be a hamster baby, unfortunately, you can't trust your mom because if she gets overly stressed out or if you're stressing her out, there is a very likely chance that she will eat you. Hamsters will eat their children for one of two reasons. One, they are overly stressed out and they simply believe that the place that they are in is not suitable to have children, so they will eat the babies to protect them from having a bad life, I suppose. Or if they are simply too stressed out, they will eat their baby as a trauma response, I guess. I can only assume that this is not fun for the hamster mom, and I can definitely assume it is not fun for the hamster baby. But if you're getting so stressed out on the regular that you're eating your own children, you can't be living the best life. Hamsters are just cute little guys that honestly deserve better, but let's keep moving. Next up, we have the mantis. And for just a bit of a heads up, this segment is gonna get PG-13. Oh yeah, we're getting crazy. The mantis, or more commonly known as the praying mantis, is a pretty cool green bug that eats other bugs and is overall pretty dope. And honestly, I don't believe they live a super horrible life, but there is one aspect of their life that I think trivializes everything, at least if you're a man. And you might already know where I'm going. Mantises may have some of the worst mating rituals I have ever heard of, which I am now going to explain. Cue the cheesy music. So when a mommy mantis and a daddy mantis love each other very much, they will express their love in a very meaningful way. But something happens typically at the end of this ceremony that is very, very notable. It doesn't happen every time, but very commonly, the mommy mantis will rip the head off the daddy mantis and eat it. And they do this for two very important reasons. The first reason they do this is so the mother can make sure that they have the nutrients required to hold and carry these babies to ensure that they are strong and make it into adulthood and exist. The second reason they do this is to ensure that the male keeps his antenna in her for as long as possible to give the mother mantis as much of a chance as possible to guarantee her pregnancy, I suppose. As a dude, this sounds completely and utterly horrible. And as a man mantis, you have one of two choices. You got to make the decision to either never engage with women ever, or engage with a woman but understand the fact that it will likely be the last thing you ever do. For me, that fact alone was reason enough to put them on this list. Following that, we have a case that is definitely more upsetting and depressing, and that is the polar bear. Think about it. The last 3 polar bears you've seen has probably been within the context of showing how their habitat is slowly eroding, typically accompanied with a picture of a polar bear that is way skinnier than you ever thought a polar bear could be. Polar bears used to have it made. They were drinking Coca-Cola with Santa Claus and whatnot, but now, sadly, that's no longer the case. I don't know what happened when I said Coca-Cola, but I'm just gonna leave that in. Coca-Cola, it is truly upsetting that the ecosystems that polar bears once thrived in are slowly diminishing thing, and this is greatly impacting their livelihood. And unfortunately, this means for the most part that polar bears have turned to cannibalism to survive. And unfortunately, this is extremely bad news for cubs and mother polar bears, as male polar bears are now eating female and cub polar bears to survive, now turning the hunters into the hunted. Having your home be destroyed and then having your dad eat your entire family, in my opinion, is extremely depressing. And one thing I will note is that this isn't like the norm. Like if two polar bears see each other, they don't just instantly eat each other. But unfortunately, the situation for some polar bears has gotten so bad that it has driven them to this circumstance. Upsetting, but let's move on. Okay, so this one isn't that crazy, and I honestly wanted to put it before the polar bear, but I didn't want to have like 2 insects in a row. This is an animal video, not like a bug convention. And this is also an entry that I'm sure is going to get no sympathy, but I still wanted to mention it. This entry being the mosquito. They do have a really short lifespan, with men living typically less than a week and women living up to 2 weeks, but that's not really the most depressing part of their existence. In my opinion, the most depressing part about being a mosquito is the fact that literally everybody in the world hates you. Nobody likes you. Nobody wants you. Nobody wants anything to do with you. Nobody's happy about your existence, and there is literally nothing you can do to be better because you just have a week to kind of live and do some weird stuff, and you suck. Both literally and figuratively. But yeah, I don't know. Mosquitoes suck, and I think that being a mosquito would suck because literally nobody likes you. I can only imagine how that feels, having the entire world hate you and a lot of people wishing you never existed. But I feel like if nothing else, it's definitely got to make for a pretty depressing existence. And if you ever end up feeling like a mosquito, just remember, hey, I'm not a mosquito. I'm a person. I live for more than a week, and I can do whatever I want. And there is people that love me. I'm pretty awesome. And life is pretty awesome. Just not if you're a mosquito. But that's all I got on them. Let's move on. Next up, we have the anglerfish, which if you're unfamiliar, they look like this. Okay, first of all, just imagine being this ugly. Yeah, sure, they had a cool cameo in Finding Nemo, but like, that's about it. Second of all, living at the bottom of the ocean has gotta suck. Oh yeah, they live at the bottom of the ocean. It's cold, it's dark, and sure, you have this kind of cool little light coming off your head, but it's also kind of sus. Like, bro, what's this big long thing dangling in your face all the time? But besides living in almost complete darkness, besides their bulb thing, and living in extremely cold water with high pressure, or being extremely ugly, once again, they have an extremely absurd mating ritual, which I will get into. So anglerfish use a type of mating that can only be described as an extreme version of sexual dimorphism and parasitism. Already off to a great start. Tiny male anglerfish latch onto much larger females by biting into them, eventually fusing their bodies and circulatory systems. The males lose most of their organs and become dependent on the females for nutrients while providing them with sperm in return. This adaptation ensures reproduction in the sparse deep sea environment where sexual encounters are rare. I don't know why, but I find this one kind of funny, especially in today's modern like dating ecosystem where everything is so value-based. Like, what do you bring to the table? What do you bring for the table? And then the male anglerfish is just like, you're gonna have to feed me. I'm gonna be living off your blood, basically. I'm gonna be half dead, but I can give you sperm in return. And I don't know why, but sperm in return sounds hilarious. But yeah, that's the reality for the anglerfish. Cold, dark, squishy, ugly, and as soon as you meet a woman, you have to instantly start living off of her and provide her with sperm for life. I'll let you guys decide. Depressing or awesome? Now, next up on our list and our final entry is more or less of a honorable mention, or at least a general group and not one specific animal. That being the extremely sad and unfortunate existence of any animal in a factory farm or a testing facility. Now, before you click off, I'm not getting on my vegan soapbox and talking about what you should do. That's not my point at all. But I think it's important we acknowledge the reality of what's going on and the fact that a lot of animals have it very poorly in systems that we are all involved in. Without getting into too much detail, there are so many smart, cute, adorable, and living creatures that are simply put in horrible conditions for, in many cases, almost meaningless reasons. There is facilities that have beagles smoking cigarettes all day. And there is also machines that grind up baby chicks 24/7. And even if you think a smoking beagle sounds pretty cool or you love ground chicken, you have to admit the reality of life for animals in testing facilities or factory farms is beyond horrible. And for me personally, I wanted to mention it because I love animals, and no matter what your opinion is or what you choose to do, I think it's important that we at least acknowledge this. And with that, bros, I'm going to thank you so much for watching this video. I had so much fun making it because I was really able to let my personality and my humor shine through a bit more. I cover a lot of dark topics in this channel that require a lot of respect, research, and facts. So this was honestly a great change of pace. We'll see how this video performs, but I liked it. Hopefully you did too. But as always, trust me, bro.